Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Film Frontline. I am so hyped you're here today because we have some absolute massive tea to spill regarding the Devil of Hell's Kitchen. That's right, we are diving deep into the highly anticipated return of Matt Murdock in Daredevil Born Again Season 2. If you thought Season 1 was just the MCU trying to figure out its footing, well, spoiler alert, you weren't wrong. The post-Endgame era has been a bit of a bumpy ride, but rumor has it, Season 2 is finally stepping into its main character energy. We are going to break down every single detail, from the jaw-dropping action sequences and returning legends to some glaring issues with how the show handles its leading ladies. Grab your iced coffee, get comfortable, and let's get into the breakdown. Let's kick things off with the absolute biggest glow-up this season, the action. If you've been manifesting a return to the gritty, visceral combat of the classic Netflix days, you are going to be so incredibly fed. Season 2 finally puts the action back in the spotlight, and honestly, it ate and left no crumbs. The choreography is tighter, the camera work actually lets us see the performers shine, and praise the cinematic gods, we are officially done with those overly dark, foggy warehouses where you can't even tell who is punching who. Charlie Cox is back in the suit, and the show goes out of its way to remind us just how superhuman Matt Murdock really is. It's not just about his radar sense anymore. His physical movements are lightning fast, dynamic, and totally mesmerizing. Contrast that fluid agility with Vincent D'Onofrio's Wilson Fisk. Fisk isn't just a mob boss operating from the shadows here. He is moving like a literal battering ram. Every time he's in a physical altercation, it's a display of horrific, raw power that speaks way louder than his words. And I have to be honest, his classic, quiet monologues are starting to lose their flavor and feel a bit repetitive this time around. So the physical brutality is a welcome shift. However, what is absolutely giving life to the season is the return of Benjamin Wilson Bethel as Benjamin Poindexter, aka Bullseye. This is a total highlight. The show actually takes the time to dig into his twisted personal philosophy and how it directly clashes with Matt's moral code. Plus, seeing how creative Bullseye gets with his permanent dead aim is just ridiculously entertaining. Honestly, give this man a standalone spin-off already, because his screen presence is undeniable. Now, let's talk about the roster of guest stars, because the MCU brought out the heavy hitters for this one. Tony Dalton makes a brief but iconic appearance as the swordsman, literally fencing with a piece of rebar. This is a massive Easter egg, and it totally makes me wonder if a Hawkeye or Kate Bishop crossover is brewing in the background. Are we setting up a street-level Avengers team? Keep your eyes peeled. And of course, we have to talk about our favorite leather jacket-wearing badass, Kristen Ritter, returning as Jessica Jones. Seeing her distinct, no-nonsense brawling style again is a visual feast. But wait, here is the absolute wildest bombshell. Jessica is now a mother, and the father? None other than Mike Colter's Luke Cage. The baby's name is Danielle, which is a massive Easter egg for comic fans, since Danielle Cage actually grows up to be Captain America in an alternate future timeline. Could the MCU be planting seeds for a future Young Avengers or Legacy storyline? It's a huge industry implication. But this brings me to my biggest grievance, and arguably the Achilles heel of Season 2, the romances and the treatment of the female characters. It's giving major wives and girlfriends trope, and we are not here for it. Let's look at Matt and Karen Page. Deborah Ann Woll is back, and Matt and Karen are officially a couple again. But there's a huge philosophical divide. Matt is deeply anchored by his religious upbringing and legal ethics. He's the ultimate bleeding heart lawyer who refuses to be the judge, jury, and executioner, holding on to his strict no-kill rule, even while Fisk turns New York into a fascist state. This is a fascinating, gritty debate, but does the show actually dive into it? Nope. It sweeps this incredible tension under the rug with a lazy love conquers all resolution. It completely flanderizes their dynamic and robs Karen of her agency and nuance. The same thing happens with Fisk and Vanessa, and don't even get me started on Jessica Jones. Making her entire identity and storyline revolve around motherhood is such an exhausting, cliche storytelling device. Instead of letting her be the complex, trauma-surviving private investigator we love, they sideline her with the overwhelmed mom narrative, just to conveniently resolve it by the end of the season to hint at future projects. It's a massive disservice to these incredibly written women. Oh, and for some reason, the show dedicates way more screen time to Heather Glenn, hinting at some future importance, while ignoring the icons we already have. We need better gatekeeping for our female hero storylines. Another glaring issue is the sheer pacing. They're trying to cram a 22-episode story into 8 episodes. It's way too jam-packed. This brings us to Fisk's new Safer Streets Act and his anti-vigilante task force. Picture this. State-sponsored thugs in Kevlar, branded with the Punisher skull symbol, dragging innocent people out of their homes and throwing them into black vans without due process. First of all, let's talk about that Punisher logo for a second. If you know anything about Frank Castle, you know he does not take kindly to corrupt cops co-opting his symbol to terrorize marginalized citizens. Could this be the perfect backdoor setup for a brand new Punisher series? Imagine an entire season of John Bernthal hunting down Fisk's task force one by one. I'm literally manifesting this into existence. But on a deeper narrative level, the show makes Fisk almost cartoonishly evil this season, leaning heavily into real-world political parallels that feel a bit too on the nose. The writers try to portray Fisk as a nuanced man who loves a city and his wife, but completely shatter that illusion by having him orchestrate a literal police state. It feels entirely indisinguous to his poor character arc. So, it's time for the Film Frontline opinion. Here's my unfiltered take. Daredevil Born Again Season 2 is unquestionably a massive step up from Season 1. When it hits hard. The action, Matt's internal struggle with his Catholicism, and Bullseye's chaotic energy are top-tier television. It feels like the old Netflix era in the absolute best way possible. But the showrunners seriously need to do better by their female cast. You cannot take phenomenal characters like Karen Page, Vanessa Fisk, and Jessica Jones and reduce them to emotional crutches or convenient plot devices. They deserve to be fully realized players on this board, not just background dressing for the male conflict. Furthermore, Marvel needs to realize that 8 episodes is just not enough time to build a compelling political thriller while simultaneously setting up 3 different future MCU projects. Let the story breathe. But that's just my take, and you know I want to hear from all of you. Do you think an 8-episode format is ruining the pacing of our favorite Marvel shows? And what are your thoughts on Jessica Jones's new era as a mom? Are you here for it, or do you think it's a tired trope? Let's get the conversation going in the comments below. If you loved this deep dive and want more unapologetic, no-holds-barred movie and TV reviews, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join the Film Frontline family. Stay fierce, keep watching, and I will catch you in the next one.